In this video, we're going to replace the struts in this 2013 Hyundai Elantra. It's a relatively easy job and is almost identical to most cars that have strut assemblies. The customer decided to get these cheap ones. I'm not too hot about cheap struts, which is the way he wants it. Well, he gets it. I don't like it any more than you, man or woman. My hands are tied. Here goes it. Jack up or lift up the front of the car or individual tire safely off the ground. Watch my extensive video on how to jack up a car safely, coming out shortly. So subscribe so you get the notice when it's ready. Now you have two 12mm bolts that hold the wire and the hose. Next there is the nut that holds the sway bar link. Spray the threads with some PB Blaster or something similar, and pray that the nuts come out without any difficulty, and it's not stuck with rust in place. Sometimes they can be annoying to remove. I do have a great trick on how to remove the most stuck sway bar link nuts, and I'm going to share it with you the next chance I get. It's great because it always works and doesn't damage the sway bar link. So if you don't want to miss it, please subscribe and check if it's already available at this time. Next we will loosen these two 19mm nuts while holding the 17mm bolts, and we will remove the bolts. You may need to tap on the bolts for it to come out. If you do, make sure you install the nut until it's flush with the threads, so you don't damage the threads and give yourself another problem. Once you remove the bolts, the strut assembly can be disconnected from the spindle. Usually a good tug will do the trick, but be mindful not to pull too hard and damage anything. Now before removing the strut from the top, I like to put a piece of cardboard on the axle boot to protect it from any sharp edges on the strut that may cut into it. Once that's done, we move to the top. Here we have three nuts that hold the top of the strut to the car. In this case, there's a cover that hides them. You have a clip on each side that lets you move this cover. With this style clip, push in on the center, and then you can remove the whole clip. Next, pull off this silly plastic piece that also helps holding the cover in place. Now if you remove the wiper arms, you can actually completely remove the whole plastic cover. And maybe that's the smart thing to do. But we're not going for smart, so yeah. We're going to pull the cover out so it can tilt. I take a little piece of 2x4 and push it in here to hold it up and give me the space I need. Now I have access to the three nuts, and I can actually use the red guy on all of them but one here in the back. And on that one I use a socket wrench without too much difficulty. I make sure to keep the last holding nut in the front so I can easily loosen it while holding the bottom of the strut with my hand. For the install, first notice that the top can swivel, so you may need to get it into position. Also, the three studs on top are not equally distant from one another, so make sure you have the strut lined up properly to avoid extra work. We raise the strut and line up the holes in the tower with the studs. Once we install one of the nuts, we can usually tilt the strut and get all the studs in the holes. Finish tightening all the nuts on top. Push the plastic cover into place. Install the weird plastic piece and the clip. Now let's move down to the bottom. Here we will install the two bolts for the strut and the sway bar link, and these two 12mm bolts for the wire and hose. Double check that you didn't forget anything and install the tire, and lower the car, and make sure to torque the lug nuts. These call for 80 foot-pounds. And as long as China put these together properly, you're done. I hope you enjoyed watching. Please like and subscribe.